Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome this afternoon's guest moderator, Peter Travers, and today's guests, Meryl Streep, Tommy Lee Jones, Steve Carell, and David Frankel.
Okay then. Sparked by this trailer, I want to ask everybody first, is everybody here getting enough sex? Look at that. So there's a receptive audience for this film. It's really out here.
You could get lucky.
This is the spot. This is it. Okay, let me start by just saying, for those, we only saw a trailer, so we don't know what this really is, because something in that trailer it misses a little bit of when this movie gets serious, when it gets, it's not too serious, but melancholy. So let's start with just saying who you guys are playing. Meryl, she should start, because she started the whole thing. She made you do this.
Well, I play Kay, who is a woman who lives in, I cut myself cooking. That's real. So I'm not going to cook anymore. I play Kay, who's a woman who lives in Omaha and is married to Arnold, who's an accountant, and they've been married 35 years, and their kids have moved out, and she feels that there's something missing that used to be there in her marriage, and she wants to reignite it, and she's desperate enough to take out a lot of money from her own account where she works and spend it on a couples therapy in Maine, whether he decides to accompany her or not. She buys him a ticket, and he comes with her, and they meet Dr. Feld, who saves the day, basically. Is that the story?
That's the story.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Our work is done here. No, Tommy, when your character Arnold begins doing this, he goes, he does. He doesn't want to go, but he goes. Where is Arnold in his life when this movie starts?
At the beginning of the movie, Arnold is in a rut. He's living his life by rote. He's abjectly dependent on his wife and unaware of any of that. He thinks everything is just fine. He realizes that there may be something afoot when he finds himself alone in the house and there's no one to make his breakfast or wash the dishes or tend to the things that he's forgotten how to do. And he hustles down to the airplane just in time to resentfully get aboard and accompany his wife on a trip for some therapy that he thinks is ridiculous. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it. He's going along. He doesn't know why he's going along. He just doesn't want to be alone. I think that's the reason he goes along. But he fights it all the way until one day he wakes up and realizes there may be something to it.
I sense, though, that there's, by his going, and about how your character reacts to his going, that there's a love there. There's something substantial still there.
Well,
yes, there is. He doesn't know it, but it's there.
I suppose they love each other, but they used to know how better than they do now.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Steve.
And it's all very funny, too, by the way.
Yeah.
This is a comedy.
It's a comedy. We're all smiling. Yes. Steve, you are playing the therapist, so basically you know on the set from having done this role as a therapist which one of all of you is the most screwed up.
Yes.
Yes. Do you want to name that today?
Would I like to?
Yes.
I by far am the most screwed up.
The screwed
in the
up,
movie.
really? Is that
Yeah.
it? Do you all agree? Not in the movie. I meant in life.
I'm saying.
Yes. Oh, in the movie and in life.
That's
Wow,
exactly
nice.
right.
That's a perfect thing. Because we know what you do to play roles. Meryl's got nothing on you in terms of preparation.
Now you're just being mean to me.
I'm not being. I never
Because
am
that's
mean to
you're
you.
clearly being
I
sarcastic.
am not. For 40-year-old virgin, you had your own hair ripped off, chest hair with hot wax.
Meryl Streep has done exactly the same thing.
I have never. What role was that? What did your director David Frankel force you to do to prepare to play this therapist?
What did he force me to do?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I know what directors do.
He would call me every day and ask about my research for this character, right? You know what? I drove by a therapist's office at one point. And I checked out some names, and
You went to New England. You're from New England.
I went to New England. I have been to Maine before. These are actually the boots that I wore in the movie. They were my very own boots.
That's what I made you do. I made you wear your own boots.
Wear the
He
boots.
made me wear my own boots. You know, how does one prepare? You
I
just
don't know. You know. You did it.
Are you honestly asking me?
I was
Because I
honestly
could bore
asking you.
people to death.
I only want a little
Do
bit
you
of
want
that.
to hear my
Just a
backstory?
smidgen.
Would you like to hear my emotional arc in this movie? Because there's nothing I like better than talking about the process. You know, I met with therapists. I discussed, you know, their approaches. I singled out one person in particular that was very soft-spoken, and he was a guy, and it's something I kind of pitched as a character, a costume. He always wore sandals with white socks, and I just thought, that would be great, but that was nixed immediately. Nobody wanted to see that. And he just had a very gentle approach, but one that I thought was incredibly intuitive, and he was subtly good. I think I didn't want to play him as kind of a superstar therapist. I wanted it to be somebody who's very old school in his methods, but extremely effective.
All right, David, so you've got the three of them here, and you're making a movie about a marriage, I think 31 years, where we know that most audiences that go to the movies aren't yet even 31 years old. So what's in it for them? What's in it for those people watching the experience of this couple and this therapist?
Well, it's a romantic comedy. So first of all, it's really entertaining, and second of all, I think it actually is universal. The movie is about rediscovering intimacy, and I think everybody at any age struggles with getting closer to the people they love, and then for everybody who pays $10, they get to see the Museum of Acting. I mean, they're just seeing the greatest actors in the world performing absolutely at the zenith of their powers.
Thank you very much.
Seeing the movie twice will make your all your relationships rock solid forever.
Imagine
Cure
if-
all of your ills.
What happens at 3 times?
3 times is bliss.
Bliss.
You know,
That's the
endless
way it works.
bliss.
Well, let's stop for a minute then before this and see this clip from the movie so that I can then ask you a penetrating question about what you just saw. All right, I have to ask, seeing that, I'm looking at the four of you. I know because I do really incredible research that each of you is married. Each of you is married for more than 10 years. Meryl, almost as long.
Can I share with everyone today is Steve's 17th wedding anniversary?
Yay!
It's also my wife's.
So let me, even though that's a great thing, and we'll have a cake, really, later. did any of you ever feel the need to seek help in terms of intimacy issues during the years of your marriage?
No.
Why am I not shocked? No, listen to the silence now.
This is clearly something I would never tell you.
Which means yes.
It doesn't necessarily mean either
Yes,
thing.
I'm going to. So none of it, you've all had perfect relationships without any need for an intimacy, even day, let alone a week.
Yeah.
Tommy has, yes, I know that
No,
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the
They're
question?
looking at you. It was the same question, and your answer was no.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even say if you did it. I was just wondering if there was ever a time where you felt the need for it. Or do you believe that basically people should work out their own problems in a marriage? Or any relationship?
I don't know what people should do. We kind of take care of business at home in our own way.
Before I was married, a marriage therapist told me that 90% of the people who come to her get divorced. She said, by the time they get to me, it's way too late. And that most marriage therapy fails. And really, it's a way for people to end things, not an attempt to renew them. And
That may have just been her. That therapist.
I didn't. So, you know, I think the story that we're telling here is, I think it's a marriage really in peril. If you get this far, it's things are really bad, and I think that's what makes the movie. One of the things that makes the movie so compelling is that it's a life and death story. It's a story about two people who will be dead in some way if they can't make this work. If Kay has to stay in this marriage, she'll be dead inside, and if Kay leaves, Arnold will be dead without her.
And it is a comedy.
And it's
Yes. Right. So we have all that mixed in with it. But I'm looking at you, David, and I'm remembering Miami Rhapsody that you did, which is about infidelity.
Yeah, it's about a girl who gets engaged and discovers that everyone in her family's having an affair.
Do you two think that there's been infidelity in the marriage between Kay and Arnold?
No.
No.
No. And what do you think the fundamental problem was? When did it stop being good?
Oh. I think you have to
I'll ask Steve. Steve will know.
You have to buy a ticket.
Yeah, you really, that's sort of the journey they go on.
Better 3 tickets, as I
To
read.
3
discover
tickets,
that.
and it will all happen. But Steve, what do you think then? I mean, you're the therapist. You know. When did they?
I wasn't listening.
Wasn't listening. So perfect. Yes.
As any good therapist.
Therapist. Just watch that, and
Zoning
it was like,
out.
When did it go off the rails?
yeah. There's no flashbacks in this movie. We don't really.
It's
see
not
it.
about
they
when
say
it
that-
did. It's about where it is right now.
Damn it.
Right?
That's just a stubborn, intransigent answer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's when 5 to 7 years before this, they started sleeping separately because he pulled his back and it was uncomfortable to sleep in the same bed.
And there's that sleep apnea deal,
And
too.
he has sleep apnea, which kept her awake.
It's funny.
It's funny unless you live with it. And then,
It is funny.
This is like shooting the movie. I mean, we should
It really is.
keep rolling, keep rolling.
yeah.
I'm just looking at 4 people who have a totally happy marriages, and it's a good thing. And I feel like celebrating, especially with Steve's anniversary.
Yeah.
I think we should do that.
Hooray.
And we should, yes. But I usually ask people about themselves when they look at themselves on the screen, but I know what you're going to say, Steve, so I don't want to ask that question. So I want to
Thank you.
ask it about somebody else. Tommy, when you look back on this movie when you've seen it now, the second, third, well, maybe you stopped at 3, I don't know. But what about Meryl? Is there a moment in this movie, 30 seconds, a minute, that resonates for you personally about how she played her character?
I like every minute. I mean, of what Meryl does in this movie. You can't take your eyes off of it. It's so immaculate. I mean, this person is not Meryl. This person lives in Omaha and has had a Midwestern upbringing, and you can see the story of her life written in her posture and in her usage of the language and the choice of earrings. And it's just a brilliant performance, and you can watch it forever.
Do you have, Meryl, a specific moment
With him?
with him?
Oh my God. No, I mean, when we were talking about who could play Arnold, I knew that it was really, I was so hopeful that Tommy Lee would take the part, because I knew it was so important that that man be a substantial man and not somebody you get mixed up with an actor. Do you know what I mean? Not actor-ish, someone real and authentic and sort of infallible in his work. And that's what I've always seen in his work. I've always wanted to work with him. And it just took us till we were, practically, yeah.
What did
in
it
the
take?
SAG home to do it. But it was great because this is the first film I've shot ever on digital, the digital format. And so you have the opportunity to play out scenes in an unbroken way. And we had scenes that were 10, 12 pages, and we were allowed to breathe in between the scenes, and stuff that usually is cut or shot in a short section was allowed to play out. And in a way, Steve was sort of calibrating when and where the interaction should happen in the therapy parts. So if he sensed an earthquake over here, he'd just sort of wait it out, wait to see it, explode. And it was so satisfying as an actor to work that way.
We had some 8, 9, 10-page days.
Yeah.
The rule of thumb in film is about a page and a half a day.
Yeah,
And there was
most
a good
movies.
reason for having those 10, 12-page days. And I'm sure David can remember what that reason was.
Budget, yeah. No, it just seemed the reason seemed to be to keep the each scene was like a one-act play, and each scene had a very distinct beginning, middle, and end, and it was important. It was really valuable in movie making to get it all in one moment, and then it meant that we could shoot faster and accomplish other things.
How much film time do you get out of a 400-foot magazine?
4 minutes or
A
something.
little over 4
Yeah.
minutes, not
Yeah.
much. So if you have to stop, I mean, then we were shooting takes that were 10 pages long. So you can imagine the advantage.
I would think you'd want to run to your trailer sometimes, though, and just get ready a little bit, that if you were shooting that much every day. But luckily, Steve was calibrating this, which I thought was the role of the director.
No, the director
Was it
was
you?
in his trailer.
He was relegated to another.
All right. I'm going to stop with this and let the audience have a chance to ask some questions. So raise your hand.
Just
Look
raise
at that.
your hand.
There's
We'll bring
hands
the
everywhere.
microphone right over to you. First question, all the way over to your right in the second row.
This is for Meryl. I have to thank you for your work with the National Women's History Museum. It's so great to have such a talented, strong woman to look up to.
Thank you.
And on that note, how did you integrate your feminist beliefs into the development of this character?
Well, the question was how I integrated my feminist beliefs into this character. Well, feminism has become sort of a dirty word in your generation, sadly. So we would prefer to use the word humanist. And this is one of those movies that's interested in human beings and this sort of huge journey that sometimes it takes to just touch somebody that you love. I mean, it is something big. And to make a connection and to make an intimate connection and to make sex meaningful and separated from what we see on the internet. Sort of gather it all and bring it home, bring it in your heart, and make that exchange. And that's what this is about.
Next question, same side, next row back.
What did you learn from each other, and can I have all your autographs?
Yes, you can have autographs. And what did I learn? I learned to be on time and make sure that my shoes were clean and to do my homework.
And I learned something from Tommy Lee, who told me almost on the last day of shooting when I was apologizing for not being very good in the scene. And he said to me, "Oh, it's such a privilege, isn't it? It's such a privilege to be an actor." So that sort of set me right back in the right groove, and I was grateful for that.
Steve, are you pretending you learned nothing?
Honestly, watching the two of them, I talk about an honor, just to be invited to be a part of this and to watch the joy with which both of them work. I think that was a lesson to me, to never take any of it for granted. And just to watch, every take, there was intention, there was passion, but joy, a real happiness to what they do. That was just inspiring to me.
I learned how to play polo. Tommy taught me how to play polo.
When did you have time?
Next question is over here right in front of you in the third row.
Hi. My question, Peter stole all my questions about personal intimacy, so I had to scramble. But I want to know, are there any directors or actors that you haven't worked with yet that you would really like the opportunity to?
I'm good with this.
Yeah, there are a lot of directors that I'd love to work with and actors that I'd love to work with. But when you name one, I have such a memory deficit at the moment that inadvertently you leave somebody out, and I don't want to do that because there's so many talented people working today. I think this is like a golden age of acting in a weird way, in every format, on television and movies and webisodes and all that stuff. There's so much amazing stuff that people are doing, so the list is long.
I'm looking for a job. I need a job, and I'm not leaving anybody out.
Next question is still in front of you, back row.
I'm just wondering how difficult or easy it might be for you to transform your mindset from each role you play in all your different movies, because they're so versatile.
Well, thank you, but I feel like everybody is me that I'm playing, and or at least I've responded, to the script because of something I recognize in the character that's like me, and so it's not that hard to switch out because they never kind of leave you. They're all parts of yourself.
Next question to your right, other side, third row.
Hello. I'm really excited, but I want to talk about your families a little bit since you all have such successful and wonderful families. And I was just curious how being an actor and such working actors and such great actors that you're able to find a balance with your family. How do you do that? I have more, but
Steve?
How do I find a balance? We did a press junket today, and a lot of the questions pertain to what is a secret? What is a secret to a successful marriage or a successful family life? And I don't honestly think there is one. I would be the last person to give advice on anything, frankly. But I kept telling people I think it's luck. A lot of it. I think it has a lot to do with who you ended up marrying and the way you can actually grow together and learn from one another. But I got lucky with and I'm not just saying this because it's my anniversary, but I truly, and my wife isn't here, so I'm not getting any points for any of this. But I do think it's true. I think that aspect of it is luck, and it's, in terms of my family life, it's just a matter of being aware of it. And this is what I do, but it's not who I am. I don't know if that makes any sense. That to me is by far, at the end of my life, I'm not going to look back and say, wow, I played the hell out of Dr. Feld. I'm going to say, it'll be about my family. That's ultimately what's going to be most important to me.
Yeah, and the older you get, the easier it is to say no. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to go to Europe. No. I'm not going to do that junket.
You sure?
I'm not
going to go at all?
No.
Come on.
Well, maybe. Maybe if I can bring the girls and, But, yeah, I think there isn't any prescription. It's funny. Everybody's asking us, gee, how do you... everything is hard. It all looks great, but, everything is hard. Everything is hard.
Yeah, I would say the most valuable thing is have a spouse or a partner who's completely contemptuous of your work and all the supposed glamour that comes with it.
Yeah, that's good.
And just really forces you to remember that, not every afternoon is spent lecturing people at the Apple store.
Do you agree with all this?
Oh, the question was how do you manage the family?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier when the kids go away to college.
Next one's going to be all the way in the back over here, right in front of you. Totally.
Hi, I'm studying acting right here. Yeah, little. Hi, I'm studying acting at NYU, and one of our
Can you be taller?
I wish, I know. And one of our actors always asks us when we see a production, why this play or film and why now? And I'm just wondering for the actors why that is for you, that you chose this or that you felt this had to be done. And David, why you felt this had to be made right now. Thank you.
That's such a good question that they ask you. And I do. I remember that. Was that Victor Pappas? Is he still at NYU? Okay. I'm asking because he was at school when I was at drama school, and they used to ask us, that was a question, Robert Brustein, who ran the drama school, the Yale Drama School for a long time, he would say, there has to be a reason that this play, that we're doing this play now. I don't care if it's Shakespeare or Gorky or a new play by Christopher Durang. Why do we need to do it now? It has to announce its necessity in some way. And I think that this movie answers something in a sort of a yearning in that I feel. You know, you feel this sort of inchoate thing floating through the, whatever you call it, the zeitgeist. You feel that, uh-oh, there's a Yale word. You feel that because of our interconnectedness in a superficial way through social media, that we've maybe lost the vertical, the depth, the layers of focused interaction with each other. And this is a fear you feel from people. They yearn for each other, they yearn for connectedness, you know, and this movie talks to that. So I think maybe that might have some why this, why now.
We have time for 2 more questions, all the way to your right, over here in the back again.
The Bridges of Madison County is one of my favourite films, and I'm wondering, Meryl, if you think that this film is a more accurate picture of love.
Are you from Dublin, love?
Yeah, I'm from the west of Ireland.
Oh,
Mayo.
west of Ireland, lovely. This script, when I first read it, felt accurate to me. It felt authentic. It felt like something real between these 2 specific people. And I think Bridges of Madison County was a romance. And this has romance.
Yeah, it's got some romance, yeah.
It has to be coaxed out of him.
Yeah, there's some romance in this movie. I never thought of comparing it to The Bridges of Madison County.
And the last question is going to be right here in the front row.
First, I want to say I'm a film student at NYU, and Meryl, you are my highest inspiration. But this can apply to all of you. What, after nothing to do with film or anything like that, is there anything else that you would like to tackle in your future? Something you would like to take on?
Something other than being an actor? Oh.
Well, Tommy's a writer and a director and a producer. That's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I like doing
And
those
a
things.
polo
Are you
player.
talking about something outside of film? Oh. Well, we raised cattle. We're in the cattle business, and I want to get better doing that. And, we're pretty good at it.
I don't know. I think I'm really happy doing exactly this. And I hope they just let me keep doing it.
Oh, yeah, me too.
A fireman, astronaut, or a professional hockey player is what I'd like to do.
It's within reach.
No, I was on a set of a movie 2 years ago, walking with my dad through the trailers and past the catering tent and heading to the stage. And he just said, "Damn, you have the greatest job." and I do. I wouldn't do anything else.
All right, then. We end happy, which is good. This is what this movie is about in the end, even though Steve seems to be reluctant to admit it. It is not about death. No, stop it. Thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.